Hey folks, we're coming off a whirlwind of news from MagicCon Vegas last weekend, so let's cover everything you need to know to catch you up on this week in MTG news. We got a couple of new cards from Reality Fracture, a couple of new cards from the Hobbit, but one of the craziest things to happen at MagicCon this past weekend was actually the Pro Tour. An absurd amount of the playing field was dominated by Izzet decks, but the real champion from this past weekend was actually Selesnya Landfall. Nathan Steuer used his team's Landfall combo deck to claim first place, giving Steuer yet another Pro Tour win for his career. In case you didn't know, that is the dude who is on Duelist of the Mind, which was illustrated in his likeness after he won the World Championship. This guy is on a total tear. The deck itself debuted a new Strixhaven card that absolutely took it to the next level. Everyone compared Erode to Path to Exile when it was revealed, but this deck turns the removal spell into a combo piece. These Landfall decks win by making a giant Might Form Harmonizer, and Erode is an easy way to get an extra Landfall trigger for just 1 mana. The finals was a mirror match between Steuer and Christopher Larson, who were both on the same green-white deck. Other top 8 decks included Izzet Lessons, Izzet Spelementals, Azorius Tempo, Selesnya Ouroboros, and 2 mono-green Landfall decks. If you've been online at all this past week, you may have seen an image floating around of the Monopoly Man as a Planeswalker. It's actually totally real, but it's one of those elusive Heroes of the Realm cards that are only given to certain employees of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. Only a handful of these will be printed and distributed to select members of the team that worked on Monopoly Go, another Hasbro property. All of these Heroes of the Realm cards are extremely cool, and Mr. Monopoly is no exception. This Planeswalker lets you roll dice to build up loyalty and work towards an ultimate that gives you 200 treasure tokens. It's a shame that no one will really be able to play this card because they're probably only going to print between 1 and 4 copies, but hey, that's what proxy printers are for. Sorry folks, but we got some disappointing news for anyone who is excited about the Hobbit previews at MagicCon last weekend. People have been poking around the collector numbers on the cards that were revealed, and all evidence points towards the Hobbit being another small set like Spider-Man or TMNT. The collector numbers on the artifacts and basic lands of the set match up pretty closely with the numbers from other small sets, so we're looking at around 180 to 200 cards for the Hobbit. We actually just put out a video talking about sets with fewer archetypes, and it's safe to say that we are not huge fans of them. The Hobbit still looks promising from the early preview panel, so it's still pretty exciting, even if there won't be as much of it to explore as there was with The Lord of the Rings a few years ago. Speaking of the Hobbit, we've got a little bit more unfortunate news for those who are fans of Tolkien's Middle-earth. It looks like the big headliner box topper version of the One Ring has plagiarized art. That's bad enough as it is, but even worse, the card's art is credited to Dan Frazier, one of MTG's legendary artists. He's the guy who illustrated the original Mox cycle from Alpha. There's a whole story tracking how this might have happened, with a lot of back and forth from Wizards of the Coast, Dan Frazier's agent, and some other artists in the MTG community. It's pretty clear that the Hobbit reprint of this card sampled the art used in the bundle version of the One Ring from the original Lord of the Rings set. They simply reversed it, removed the lettering, and subbed in a different background. This is obviously a pretty bad look for the set, since this card is a huge driving point for people to buy it in the first place. But there's just not that much to be done about it now. And in brighter news, WotC has officially released the deck list for a very anticipated forthcoming Secret Lair. It didn't really come as a surprise to anyone, since most of the Goblin Storm deck's content's already leaked online, but it's official now. It features artwork from Wizard of the Barge and will go on sale May 18th for $150. The last Secret Lair Commander deck was a massive flop, but this one looks decent. It's got some big reprints in it like Roaming Throne and Throne of Eldraine, but the bulk of the deck is goblins and goblin support cards. Not sure what else you could expect from a deck called Goblin Storm, but here we are. In an utterly baffling move, the guy who directed the Clerks series has previewed a new card from Marvel Superheroes Commander. That card is Lucky the Pizza Dog. More pizza? Is this real? Is it real? It is in fact real, and the card says whenever you cast a cat, dog, or hero spell, create a food token. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Lucky. Okay, yeah, it could go in a food deck, and it could also be a great fit in Sophia Dogged Detective decks, since those decks already care about artifact tokens. I personally was hoping that we wouldn't be getting any more pizza art anytime soon, but here we are. Secrets of Strixhaven continues to be the biggest motivator on MTG's secondary market. Erode originally went down after pre-release, but it has since climbed way back up because of its success at the Pro Tour. Improvisation Capstone is much better than I thought it was in the first place. Exiling cards from the top of your library until you've hit total mana value 4 or greater, and then casting any number of spells from among them without paying their mana costs, each turn, insane. Pre-sale here was $25, and then it went down to $7, and now it's back up to $18. And that is this past week in Magic the Gathering news. Don't forget to like and subscribe.